Hello, listeners, and welcome to the podcast Analyze, Realize, and Criticize, where conscience meets logic. Now, the podcast is going to be about Amnesty International India, which has recently faced a backlash in our country. On 29 September 2020, Amnesty India announced on its Twitter handle that all the operation has been halted and even blamed it as a reprisal and a witch hunt by BJP government. This tweet made Twitteralities to come out in support as well as criticism for Amnesty. अब बात कर लेते हैं सपोर्ट की। जैसे ही एमनेस्टी इंडिया ने इस ट्वीट में प्रेजेंट गवर्नमेंट को ब्लेम किया, ये अपोजिशन के लिए एक ओपन प्लेग्राउंड बन गया जो टारगेट और क्रिटिसाइज द गवर्नमेंट। वेरियस लेफ्ट लिबरल्स, कम्युनिस्ट पार्टी लीडर्स वर फोकस्ड ऑन टारगेटिंग गवर्नमेंट इन नेम ऑफ सपोर्टिंग एमनेस्टी इंटरनेशनल। पर जो सबसे रिमार्केबल कमेंट आया था वो था by Mr. Shashi Tharoor, who came out in complete support of Amnesty International and called it a complete wrong decision by the government, which has caused or undermined India's democratic reputation. But this tweet by Mr. Tharoor is hypocritical in itself, और इसकी hypocrisy भी जानना बहुत ज़रूरी है. Is it the first time Amnesty India has stopped its work and packed their packs? No, that is not the case. Under government of Mr. Manmohan Singh, in year 2009, Amnesty had to stop all its work due to government's order. Even in 2006, the license for getting foreign funding, that is FCRA license, was rejected. Even in 2010, their application for FCRA license was rejected. पर ये जानना जरूरी आखिर क्या रीजन है जिसने गवर्नमेंट को एमनेस्टी पर बैन लगाने को मजबूर कर दिया। According to FCRA rule, that is Foreign Contribution Regulation Act, any NGO in India wants to receive foreign funding have to follow certain FCRA rules and obtain the license, where the FCRA law was amended by the previous UPA government. Although Amnesty has applied for license several times in past, but has never followed the set of FCRA rules, which leads to denial of the license. पर समस्या इस बात पर और गंभीर हो जाती है कि जब एमनेस्टी बिना FCRA लाइसेंस के फॉरेन फंडिंग्स को इंडिया में इजीली रिसीव करता है इलीगली, और ऐसा करने में कई बार सफल हुआ है। But rather than talking about governments or blaming governments, I think we need to see the bigger picture of halting the operation of Amnesty in India. And this question arises when we ask the question on credibility and reliability of Amnesty International. The Amnesty International receives a large chunk of funds from Open Society Foundation, aka OSF. The Open Society Foundation is known all around the world, but trust me, for all the wrong reasons. Open Society Foundation in year 2015 was banned in Russia because it was red flagged as security threat at several occasions. Countries like Turkey also sees it as a threat and temporarily banned its activities. In a report by Irish Times, the government of Ireland ordered Amnesty International to return the donation from founder of Open Society Foundation. Now the question arises, why is Open Society Foundation a potential threat or a chaos maker? And the only reason is infamous George Soros, the founder of Open Society Foundation. This man has a great control over media houses like New York Times, NBC, Washington Post, ABC, which has always done and has been always criticized for biased reporting and caused lots of riots and chaos due to exaggeration of events and virtue signaling. And this man is very expert in toppling governments in various countries. Due to George Soros, who himself is a Hungarian citizen, but is funding to activities which can cause chaos and demographical disturbances, Hungarian government had to pass a Stop Soros law. He invests in country to break down their economies. It sounds ridiculous, but it is true. Media houses like BBC has reported that George Soros was the man who single-handedly brought down Bank of England on its knees. Even the Asian tourism hub, Thailand, was economically brought down by Mr. George Soros. Now think, if George Soros, a man who can bring down economy of a country like England, how would it have affected Indian economy in the long run? Where right now Indian economy is already in a little bit of a bad position due to pandemic. Now we should talk about the credibility of Amnesty International. Now, the institute, which is globally accredited for monitoring the NGO called as NGO Monitor, clearly mentioned in its report that Amnesty research methodology is not credible and also lacks military expertise. Now, this says that the flaws of research are completely biased. The research which always favors a particular kind of society. This explains the several reports of Amnesty India which shows the Indian army in bad light, because the Amnesty's report never talk about the separatists of J&K who attacked Indian army's convoys using stones and petrol bombs, but only mentions that Indian army's reaction to these events in form of using lathis or tear gas on the mobs who are continuously attacking them. The statement I am going to make might sound a little absurd or too strong to come out, but it's a fact, and I'm going to prove it to you point by point. Now, Amnesty International is a pro-terror, pro-criminal, and nothing more than a terror apologist organization. Now, lots of people will be thinking why these allegations are made, and the reason behind it is Amnesty itself. Amnesty on its Twitter handle opposed the Supreme Court's decision of hanging the culprits of Nirbhaya's rape case. Similarly, Amnesty also on its official site opposed hanging of Afzal Guru, a terrorist who was convicted for terror attacks in parliament. These pro-terror activities led to slogans like "तुम जितने अफजल मारोगे, हर घर से अफजल निकलेगा" in central universities like JNU. Amnesty has time to time supported terrorists like Mozayyam Beg, the convicted terrorist, and had partnership with terror groups like Cage in England. Amnesty protects terrorists and rioters using cloak of activism, and Amnesty at several instances have also been bashed by various governments because of its open support to Taliban. NGO Monitor also mentions this issue in its various reports. Similarly, terrorists like Burhan Wani was also presented as martyr, like a Neta, and was glorified in the eyes of the public. Propelling new fake news propagandas are major weapon in the artillery of Amnesty International to create chaos and instigate riots. In one such case, Amnesty calls out UP police on its Twitter handle and blames for killing almost 900 criminals in encounter in the year 2017 and 2018. UP police abruptly replied and silenced Amnesty that only 37 were killed, and also asked them to respect people who are alive. After these propagandas got exposed, the Amnesty had no other choice left to delete the tweet. Amnesty supports Palestinian-based terror organizations like Hamas. The United Nations Watch in its report clearly mentioned how Hind Chowdhury, an Amnesty employee, exposed information to Hamas about Ramai Aman, a Palestinian peace activist whose only crime was to have a Skype chat with Israeli peace activists for talking and having a peaceful relation to stop the war between Israel and Gaza. Ramai Aman was abducted by Hamas terror organization, and no one till now has ever heard a word about him. Now, the problem with all the news that has been shown on the media channel with respect to Amnesty International India, whose operation has been halted, was not shown with all the technical glitches of license cancelling. The news report never points out clearly technical glitches, and also do not points out the bad reputation of Amnesty all over the world and having a violent ideology of being a terror apologist. The news channels, rather than explaining that both government, the previous and the current one, was bothered due to the illegal funding, but they take it as a chance to take a dig in the present government. To be honest, I believe it is very important to ask questions and criticize policies of the government because that's what happens in a healthy democracy. For a democracy to work, the power of asking question to the person in command of the country is the most beautiful thing. The things which has been already explained by the present government or even the previous one, that why this action was particularly taken. And I would also like to mention that even the media houses should come out and speak, not more than anything, how the Amnesty International use the tag of human rights organization to do horrendous things.